everyone. Welcome to the Hammer Museum. I'm Claudia Bester. I'm the Director of Public Programs, and it's my great honor to welcome you all here tonight and introduce our guest, Shigeru Ban. Shigeru is from Tokyo, and he studied architecture right here in Los Angeles at the newly founded Southern California Institute of Architecture, SCI-Arc, back in the late 1970s, just after finishing high school in Japan, and I think he was like 17 years old. We were lucky enough to host Shigeru and the legendary late great architect Ray Cappy here at the Hammer in 2007. Ray, who was the founding director of SCI-Arc and served on the admissions committee, told us that when he saw Shigeru's portfolio, his talent was so evident right off the bat that he had him just skip the entire first year curriculum. And by the way, you can watch the video of that. It's on the Hammer channel. Anyway, I'm very delighted to say welcome back, Shigeru. So exciting to have him here in LA. It's been one of my dreams to have him come speak, and I'm just utterly thrilled. When you experience a Shigeru Ban building, whether you're walking through it or seeing it from a distance, it's impossible not to feel something. Awe, delight, wonder. His work is breathtakingly beautiful, unexpected, and brilliant. But what makes Shigeru's architecture so extraordinary isn't just its beauty. He's one of our era's great architectural humanists, someone who brings together stunning structural innovation with deep social responsibility. His buildings blur the lines we usually take for granted between temporary and permanent, between humble materials and monumental architecture, and between Eastern and Western design traditions. After studying at SCI-Arc, he went on to Cooper Union, where he worked with John Hajuk and developed his idea about what he calls invisible structure, architecture where the engineering disappears into the design itself. He weaves together Japanese spatial ideas, like the open floor plan and the translucent screens you see in traditional shoji, with the clean lines of Western modernism. In the mid-1980s, Shigeru began experimenting with something most architects would have never considered: recycled cardboard tubes as a structural material. What started as exhibition designs evolved into full-scale disaster relief architecture that's now been built on 5 continents. After the devastating 1995 Kobe earthquake, he created paper log houses for Vietnamese refugees, proving that architecture could respond immediately to human crisis. And in Christchurch, New Zealand, after the 2011 earthquake destroyed the historic cathedral, he built a replacement out of cardboard that rises 79 feet high. And it's such a beloved part of the community that it's still standing, proof that so-called temporary materials can create something truly monumental and permanent. His major works include the Pompidou Centre in Metz, France, with its incredible undulating wooden roof, the Temedia office building in Zurich, built entirely from cross-laminated timber, and the Japanese pavilion at Expo 2000, which he created with the legendary engineer Frei Otto. Shigeru once said, "I don't like waste," and that simple idea captures everything about his practice. He takes materials others might overlook and transforms them into architectural poetry, all while staying committed to helping communities in crisis from Rwanda to Haiti to Ukraine. In 2014, he received architecture's highest honor, the Pritzker Prize. I also want to mention that Shigeru has 2 beautiful recent books out, Timber in Architecture and Shigeru Ban, Complete Works 1985 to Today. He will be signing books right here on the stage after the talk, and you can purchase copies out in the courtyard. There will also be coffee, tea, and cookies for you out in front of the theater. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn over the stage to the man himself. Please join me in giving a warm, warm welcome to Shigeru Ban.
Good evening. I was very surprised that she knows about Ray Cappy interviewed me, and I skip 1 year, but also that he didn't see that my English test score It was not enough to enter SIAC, but he was one who started my door to be architects. Anyway, tonight I'm going to show you my project from commissioned work. Then I will show you in the end project in disaster areas. I started working in disaster areas because I was quite disappointed my own profession as architects. We are mainly working for the privileged people who have power and money. Because power and money is invisible, they hire us to make a monument to show their power to the public. I'm not saying I'm not interested in designing monument, but I was hoping to use my knowledge and also experiences not only for privileged, but also the general public, even people who lost their houses by natural disasters. Especially after a big earthquake, I recognize that people are not killed by earthquake by itself. People are killed by building collapse. That's our responsibility as architect. But however, when the city has to rebuild, we get more projects. Before city are rebuilt, many people, victims are suffering with very poor living condition in evacuation facilities and temporary housing. I thought that is our responsibility as architect to improve this kind of living condition. That is why I start working in disaster areas. Can I start my slide, please? As I was introduced after I finished Cooper Union 1984, I came back to Tokyo immediately after to start my own practice without any working experience. So that I couldn't design building, but I designed exhibitions. This is one of the first exhibitions I designed for my favorite architect, Alba Aalto from Finland. Because I've been to Finland many times, and I want to design his exhibition like his architecture. However, the budget was very limited, and I didn't want to use like for the wood for the temporary use to be wasted after the exhibition is over. So I was looking for the material to replace wood, and I found recycled paper tubes, which was all over my studio. That time, the facsimile paper was roll paper. When we finish it, we always get the very strong paper tube, also this the tracing paper. Always I kept them because I hate throwing things away. So I thought this material is really good to replace wood. So the seating was designed with a very small paper tube, like Alberto's B-Please library, and the larger diameter was used for the freestanding partition. Next, please. Then I found out this material is very strong. I start testing. One picture is missing, but it's okay. So I start testing to use this material for building structure. Next, please. 1990, actually when I started developing 1985, before people start talking about ecological issues, environmental issues, recycling, I just wanted use this humble material for building structure, not to waste. This is a temporary exhibition hall. It was too difficult to get the government permission to use such an unusual material for structure. So this building is made in steel column, steel roof. And paper tube was used as a freestanding interior, exterior walls. There is 300 tubes in 8-meter length. It's like the 27, it's about 27 feet. And diameter is 55 centimeter. Wall thickness is 3/4 of an inch. And of course, inside empty. Some of the tube is bigger. The diameter is 4 feet. Inside is toilet. In case you finish with your toilet paper in emergency situation, you can tear off inside the wall. Next, please. Then I design, no, because nobody hired me to design the building out of paper, so I have to make my own weekend house to get this government permission. So I spent a year testing. Finally, I got the permission. So this became first permanent building out of paper tube structure. However, I'm busy traveling. I have no weekend. That's why house is still empty. But it's still there. Next, please. Then a few years after, I was asked to design the big roof for the local carpenter in very heavy snow area. They wanted to build by themselves without steel structure. So this is second permission with paper chip with wooden joint to make a permanent structure with the government permission. It still remain. Next, please. And year 2000, the world started talking about environmental issues. This is a World Expo in city of Hanover in Germany. The main theme of Expo was environmental issue. Because I was the only architect using recyclable material for building, I was chosen to design Japanese pavilion. I was very lucky, as I was introduced, to collaborate with genius architect from Germany, Pry Otto, to make first paper tube grid shell structure. This paper tube, of course, produced locally in Germany. As a part of the contract with them, they have to promise us to collect all the paper tube after building demolish and recycle again. Also, I didn't want to use the concrete because concrete cannot be recycled. I made a wooden box filled with sand instead of a concrete foundation. Membrane. Normally, we use a PVC membrane, but the PVC is not environmental friendly. I made a membrane out of paper. Because paper is an industrial material, we can waterproof or fire protected easily. And we have to test in Germany. And this is the one we developed. And this scaffolding, yellow scaffolding, which can be rotated by hand little bit to push up little bit, little by little, to create three-dimensional forms to stabilize the structure. Next, please. We covered over 25,000 square feet. The connection is just fabric tape. It's very inexpensive, easy to install, easy to dismantle, so that the most of material was recycled. Next, please. This is called Nomadic Museum. This is a movable museum for the Canadian artist Gregory Cobero. He asked me to design his own museum to travel from city to city, country to country. First one was built in New York on the wooden pier. This is about 200 meters. I use 20 feet shipping container, use shipping container, because not because shipping container can be traveled. I use shipping container because this is international standard. We can find the used container anywhere in the world. So that here in New York, we just rented the used container during the exhibition for 4 months. And after the New York, we went to Santa Monica, Los Angeles, without bringing container. We just returned after the exhibition was over. We returned to original shipyard. Then we came to Los Angeles without container because we can rent same kind of container locally in Los Angeles. In order to minimize number of container, I made a checkerboard pattern, and there's an existing connection in the corner to stabilize the structure. Inside, there is the paper tube of 33 feet length to support the roof, and Gregory's work was exhibited in between columns. Next, please. Here in Santa Monica, the parking lot we rented was not big enough to put the 200 meter, so we divided 2 100-meter galleries, and Gregory additionally asked me to design theater space, so that I kept the space between 2 galleries and put a new membrane roof to create a theater space. The number of the container is exactly same from New York, but the size of the museum became 50% bigger than New York. This is when we came to Tokyo. As you can see, the color of container is different because this is the containers we just rented in Tokyo. Next, please. 2004, there is a big earthquake in Sumatra area near Indonesia, create big tsunami in surrounding countries, including this south of Sri Lanka, destroyed all the fishermen's village, and I was asked to make the inexpensive, the affordable housing for one of the fishermen's village. After this project is over, I was asked to design the house for one of the sponsor for our project here on top of the hill. I was very surprised to visit Sri Lanka first time. There is a great architect. He passed away already. His name is Jeffrey Bawa. And I was really amazed by his architecture. Every time I go to Sri Lanka for disaster relief, I travel all over the Sri Lanka to see his architecture. So I must say this house was totally influenced by Jeffrey Bawa, using natural material, local craftsmen, taking advantage of natural landscape, stepping up little by little. Finally, you arrive to the living room with a so-called big picture window. Picture window is normally small window framing a beautiful landscape like painting. Instead of a small picture window, I made a big picture window to frame ocean connecting to the swimming pool. Next, please. This is a house in Fukushima. It's a rather big house as a Japanese house. However, there is no nice view around the house, so that I made a courtyard, swimming pool, so that all the rooms are looking into the courtyard and swimming pool. And the client loved to swim. So this is a big window made of glass shutter, which is normally used for the fire station. I just improved it for the residential use. Just you push button, it go up immediately to connect inside outside. Even this family room, when glass shutter is open, the family room is connected to the courtyard. So all the room is connected inside outside. Next, please. This is the building in Ginza in Tokyo. Ginza is the most expensive commercial land in the world. That is why the site is very narrow and very deep. This is was a competition for the headquarters of the Swatch company, Swatch from Switzerland, watch company group. And upper 9 floors are offices. Every 3 floors, they have the atriums. And normally, even during the nice season, like spring and fall, we have to, the atrium has to be air conditioned. But I thought that is waste of energy. So that by opening the shutter, we can take advantage of natural ventilation without depending on air conditioning. One of the challenge, this was not requested for the competition. They want to have 7 boutiques of the brand names they have, like Omega, Tissot, Jacques Doro, Blancpain, so on. Because the site is very narrow, if we have one boutique in front of the busy commercial street, rest of the 6 boutiques has to be the downstairs, upstairs, back of the house. And then I thought that's very unfair not to have direct access from the street. So that this was my own challenge, to have a direct access from the street to all of 7 boutiques. So what I did is opening the glass shutter for 4 floors in front and the back, creating the natural the public passage inside the building with green wall and some water feature. And along this passage, there is a 7 glass showroom of each boutiques. Next, please. So like this. So there is a 7 glass showroom of each brand name. You can come in to take a look at the latest collection. If you want to see more, you have to push this button. Each showroom is made as a hydraulic elevator, bringing on customer to own showroom here. This one goes to here. This one goes to here. So that this is an unusual way to make all the customer to go to the boutiques directly from the street. Because of this unusual idea, I won this competition to build this building. This is the 5th floor customer service. You don't need to own the Omega watch to come to this space. It is free to come in. So if you have a chance to come to Ginza, please come in. This is when the glass shutter opened, so this became semi-outdoor indoor space. And there's the true story about this giraffe. Just before the completion of the building, the president of the Swatch came to see the construction. I show her around. And when I brought her into this space, she was very surprised. She said, "Where's the giraffe?" She misunderstood. During the presentation of the competition, in order to show the height of this space, I draw the giraffe in the section drawing, And she thought that is the final design. So that she was very mean that she said, unless I see the giraffe, I don't want to accept as a completion of the building. So that I have to spend my own money to make a giraffe out of wood. This is really a true story, not a joke. Next, please. This is a museum in Oita Prefecture in south of Japan. Normally, we call the museum like a black box or white cubes because museum is rather closed building. But I wanted to open the museum to the street and public. So that I created the so-called bifolding door to open the facade totally. Oftenly, they close the street to have a public event on the street so that we can connect inside of the museum with the event outside so that the people can come into the museum freely. This Oita prefecture is very famous for bamboo craft. So that the third floor gallery, structurally I use the timber, look like the woven bamboo pattern. Next, please. This is how the bifolding door can be opened. And the gallery on the ground floor, the ceiling is hung from upper floor. That's why there's no pillars. There is a movable partition inside the wall to make any the partition layout for different type of exhibition, or they can totally close. It's very flexible. You can go up to third floor, another lobby with the lattice work in timber, like a woven bamboo, to bring natural light into the lobby space. Next, please. This is a famous Pompidou Center in Paris, national the modern art museum in France, built by Renzo Piano and Richard Rogers, completed in 1977. Year 2003, they organized international competition to make a second Pompidou Center in city of Metz, and I was very lucky to win. And I wanted to open my office in Paris because even the very famous Japanese architects, for example, Tadao Ando, Isozaki, when I visited their museum built in a foreign country, oftenly the final design, the completed building, is different from what they submitted for the competition. Then I find out why. Normally, we have to collaborate with local architects. Although we carefully choose the local architects, they oftenly became our enemy. Instead of listening us, if they listen to us too much, they're gonna be over budget or over period of the construction period. Instead of listening us, they became side of the local client because they have to take care of the building after many decades. That is why oftenly that the completed building is different from what they submitted for competition. I didn't want to miss this wonderful opportunity with working with bad local architects, so that I decided to do all the construction document, supervision of the site by myself by opening office in Paris. However, renting office in Paris is very, very expensive. I couldn't afford. So that when I met the president of the Pompidou Center first time, I asked him, please lend me the rooftop or terrace. I want to make my temporary office to save money. He thought this is a very interesting idea. When they have some VIP guests, he wanted me to show them around inside of my office, like as a gallery exhibition, to show the new design of Pompidou Center. That was a deal. Then I got the 7th floor terrace, and I brought my Japanese student to work with French student during summer to build this office by ourselves using paper tube and wooden joint. Everything was built by a student. And enjoying because it's just such a difficult construction, we spent 6 years enjoying wonderful view of Paris without paying any rent. But there is one disadvantage. When my friend come to see me, because we are part of the exhibition, they had to buy ticket downstairs to see me. That was very inconvenient. Next, please. This is what I submitted for the competition. This is a map of the city of Metz. This is the central train station, 90 minutes by TGV's high-speed train from Paris. Our site was the south side of the train station. Center of the city is north side of the train station. Although we are very away from center of the city, I wanted to connect my museum with the city. So what I did is following. This is the model I submitted. There is so-called gallery tubes. It's 50 feet in width and 300 feet in length, shifting 45 degrees, stacking on top of each other. End of each gallery tubes, there is a big picture window. Top of the tube is facing to the cathedral. This is very famous. They have a stained glass design by Chagall. And the first tube picture window is framing the cathedral. Second tube is framing the train station. Because Metz is the east side of the France, always after the wars, they are occupied by German. There's many beautiful classical German architecture all over the city, including this train station, so that this became important history of the city. So second tube is framing the train station. That's how I connected my museum with the center of the city. The roof is made in timber. This is how the idea of the roof come from. This is a traditional Asian bamboo hut. I studied different pattern for the roof structure. Let's say if we divide by square, it's easy, but the square doesn't have in-plane stiffness, so that we need a cross bracing, and the connection joint become very complicated. If we divide with triangle, it's easy and very stable without any bracing. But as you can see, all the connections, there are 3 elements is meeting, so it's rather complicated. This pattern, most of the bamboo craft is made of. It's a hexagon and triangle. Although hexagon doesn't have in-plane stiffness, however, there is a triangle stabilizes the geometry. Also, as you can see, any connections, only 2 elements is meeting. That is why most of bamboo, woven bamboo is made of this pattern. So that I use this pattern for the structure, and this is the model of the roof I made. If I try to meet the timber align, we need a very complicated steel connections. But it's very expensive, but also I didn't want to use a steel in order to take advantage of a characteristic of wood. So instead of aligning, I overlap each other, and upper chord and lower chord connected with the piece of wood, creating the Philendale truss. And this one, we just need a long bolt to connect all pieces together to stabilize without any complicated steel joint. In order to make such a complicated the forms, this connection idea made possible very easily, inexpensively. Next, please. This is completion. This is the picture windows, and people are waiting outside of a glass shutter before opening hour under the big roof. Then next, please. Then after the opening, all the glass shutter open to connect inside and outside. This is a picture window framing the cathedral. Central tower in steel for the elevator and the emergency stair, so that this timber structure is hanged. It's a suspended structure. Next, please. While I was designing Pompidou Center in Metz, I was asked to design golf clubhouse in South Korea for one of the big the company. And the chairman of this company loves my design of a Pompidou Center Metz. He wanted me to use a timber roof. So this is the assembling process. All the timber was made in Switzerland. This three-dimensional cutting technology only exists in Switzerland and Germany, not in Korea or Japan. So that normally I want to use the local material as much as possible, but this was a request from the chairman to use this Swiss technology. So we assembled cut all the timber in Switzerland, assembled locally in South Korea. Because I don't play golf, I didn't know what is inside the clubhouse. Only my memory was when I was very small, my father used to take me to the practicing range. So at that time, we put the ball on wooden tee. So that was my memory. Now it's in plastic. So this is a structure like wooden tee. Next, please. Same client asked me to design employment training center on the same beautiful campus. The main element function of this facility, there was a big auditorium, maybe twice bigger than this. So it's a black box. I didn't want to put the black box on top of on the beautiful landscape, so I put this in the underground. But I didn't want the people to feel like being underground. So this is the foyer for this auditorium. It's a timber structure supporting the roof in glass with water. And each timber column, they have the pot made of stainless steel with mud, growing trees. So the pattern of the tree on the roof was extended to the on the water pond, bringing the light and shadow floating by wind. Next, please. This is a 7-story office building in Zurich, Switzerland. In Europe, they have very good regulation called oversizing, the fire protecting wood by itself without any protection. This by testing, we know that extra inch 25 millimeter works as a half hour fire protection. 45 millimeter, little bit smaller than 2 inch, works as a 1 hour fire protection. So this extra thickness itself works as a fire protection for timber itself. So this building was built with this oversizing the regulation. That's why we can expose timber totally. Also the connection, again, I didn't want to use a steel connection. So the idea is the post with the 2 beams and the perpendicular beams, the profile is oval. Oval profile beam is inserted. It doesn't rotate, it's locked. That's why it's good for the lateral force without any steel connections. Next, please. Exterior is normal, the aluminum curtain wall with horizontal line. This is glass shutter, which can be totally open to connect the inside outside to take advantage of the natural ventilations. Next, please. In Japan, we don't have a good regulation like Europe. We don't have like oversizing the fire protection regulation, so that even in order to make the 7-story timber structure, the wood has to be covered by plasterboard, gypsum board, and finally covered by the very thin finish of wood. It's a fake. I don't like this kind of fake timber structure. So because of that, I made a new idea. This is a concrete form made of CLT, cross-laminated timber. Normally, we make a concrete form with wood. Then after the concrete is dry, we remove the concrete form and throw them away and finish with stone or wood or whatever they like. So there are many layers, and the concrete form is wasted. So this one, I made a concrete form CLT kept as a final finish for the columns and slab, so that it's not only finished, but we can save a lot of time removing the forms and finishing again. Also, that this CLT concrete form reinforce the concrete for the bending. So it's working together as a hybrid concrete and the timber together for the lateral force, and it looks like the timber structure. Next, please. This is a project called La Seine Musical in Paris. It's a music theater complex. This is an island on Seine River. It used to be Renault automobile factory until the 80s, and they moved out, and it's become empty. And the French architect Jean Nouvel made a master plan. They organized the competition to make a theater complex, and I was very lucky to win this competition. Because of the location is kind of intersection of many different highways, the local government wanted to have some kind of symbolic form for this project. I made concert hall for the 1,200 seat for the classical music hall as egg shape in timber, and cladded with glass. And this is sail, like a ship. Instead of receiving wind force, it receives sun it generate energy, and this rotate following the sun, so that always the sail is facing to sun, generating efficiently the energy, and creating the shading behind to save the air conditioning effect. Also, depending on the time of the day, the shape of the building is different. And underneath of this roof, there's the multi-purpose hall for the 4,000 seat, and also School of Music there. Next, please. And this is a foyer for the concert hall. I made a new mosaic tile. This changes the color from red to green depending on the angle of the sun. You can see the back of the timber structure, back of the solar panels. This is the inside of a concert hall. The ceiling is made of the paper tube, different diameter of paper tube cut to create very good acoustical ceiling with paper. Next, please. This is the headquarters for the Swatch group. The site shape was L shape, so I made an L shape building. And also that, as you know, the characteristic of the Swatch design is rather, let's say, playful or colorful. But the Omega is more the rigid design. So Omega, I designed the office for Swatch and Omega. So Omega Swatch building is organic shape, totally made in timber with the solar panels, ATFE air cushion pillow roof materials make it lighter. And also the timber structure is covering public street. Next, please. As you can see, the timber roof is covering public street. Oftenly on weekend, they close the street to have a public event under the big roof. Next, please. This is construction photos. Using this advanced timber cutting technology in Switzerland, we can cut each pieces very, very precisely, so that we just need a hammer to fit them very easily and quietly. And this is the inside of the office, inside the foyer, lobby space. Everything is made in timber. Next, please. The building in front, this is the museum for Swatch and Omega, and also conference hall. Only the ground floor, the pilotis is made in concrete. Rest of the fourth floor is made with timber beams, timber posts, and timber floors. And this is the conference hall. The roof is coming from Swatch headquarters, covering the conference hall. Next, please. This is the museum in Taiwan, city of Tainan, south of Taiwan. This is a symbol floor of city of Tainan. It's a pentagon shape. So I made a pentagon, so-called fractal roof. I will explain you later. Each gallery were designed like a box, stacking on top of each other, shifted to create the green garden, some sculpture garden. The people can come up to any level of the gallery freely as a park. Next, please. The fractal roof, this is based on the fractal geometry. Fractal geometry is one. You can divide, for example, this is the triangle fractal geometry. You can divide, and you get the same proportion of triangle forever. And Professor Sakai of Kyoto University found out by making three-dimensional fractal geometry with opening, by putting the wind, it's created the moving of the air, so that he made a small pagoda, less space in the park. So I collaborate with him to make a big fractal roof. This is a computer simulation. Let's say that the building is exposing to the sun. The surface temperature becomes 60 centigrade. I already forgot the Fahrenheit. Let's say 60 degree. If we have roof, we can save about 10% of the air conditioning effect, but still roof make the radiation. Having the fractal roof is like being underneath of big trees, because of each leaves make movement of air. That's why it's very cool being in the underneath of the big trees. It's the same effect. And by computer simulation, we found out we can save about 15% of the energy. So that is why I put the big fractal roof on top of the building, creating light and shadow, bringing into this atrium space. Next, please. This is a museum and hotel restaurant in Hiroshima. It's a big, long site is facing to the ocean, and this is a private museum, and 10 villas to stay over. These are the villas I designed long time ago. You can stay over, and the restaurant, and this is 8 cubes, which is movable galleries. Because site is away from center of Hiroshima, in order to make people to come back again and again, I wanted to make the museum, the galleries move. Depending on the type of the exhibition, the layout of the gallery can be adjusted, changed to the type of the exhibition. So also Hiroshima is very famous for the shipbuilding company. There are many shipbuilding companies. I collaborate with shipbuilding company to make floating gallery. This was made by shipbuilding company on barge. As you know, barge is a steel plate floating on the water without engine. They bring the materials. So each gallery made in shipbuilding company, brought over by ship, and the crane put on top of the water. Next, please. Each one, normally the foundation is sitting, bottom of the gallery sitting on the bottom of the pond. By adding water, they can be floated. Then only the two men can push them to change the location of the galleries. And this bridge easily can be displaced to connect to the other opening to have a different layout of the gallery. So depending on the type of the exhibition, the shape of the museum changed. This is the foyer made in timber structure, and there are 10 villas to stay over. If you have a chance to come to Hiroshima, please stay over here. Next, please. This is Expo Pavilion. Last year, we had the Osaka Expo, and this is the pavilion called Blue Ocean Dome. The problem of the building pavilion in Osaka was the site was reclaimed land. That's why the ground condition is very weak. Even building a temporary structure, they have to put the concrete piles, or they have to make a special foundation to support the building. But it's wasted, because after half year, they have to be demolished to be wasted. As you know, maybe if you have seen, they made a big wooden ring. They spend the $270 million to be wasted half year, because they have no use. But I didn't want to waste the material. Like Hanover Expo, I made a paper tube structure to be recycled, but this building is going to be reused in other location. I have project in Thailand, and my client bought this building to put to their site. But also, I didn't want to make a special foundation in concrete, so I made a very lightweight structure in order to avoid the concrete foundation. There is 3 different structure. First, small dome is made of laminated bamboo. In Japan, there are so many bamboo forests, but they are not really well used. So that I laminated bamboo to make the structure. And the third one is made of a paper tube with a wooden joint. And the biggest one is made of carbon fiber. As you know, the carbon fiber is now used for the making aircraft and automobile to make them lighter. But normally, building doesn't need to be light, so that the carbon fiber is not used for the building construction. However, this time it's useful to make a building lighter to avoid the concrete foundation. So that this is the biggest the carbon fiber structure ever made. Even connection is just a tape. So easily to be built and easy to dismantle, and also it's easy to transport. Next, please. Now we go to disaster area. 1995, East Africa, Rwanda, they have genocide between 2 tribes, Hutu and Tutsi, kill each other, and they created over 2 million refugees in surrounding countries. And these 2 photos are the refugee camps made by United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. And when I saw this photo, I was very surprised. People are freezing with blanket. And I found out during rainy season, they get very cold, and this poor shelter is not good enough to keep them warm. So I wrote a letter to United Nations to improve this, but I got no reply. So I had to go to Geneva, headquarters of United Nations, without any appointment. And I was very lucky to meet a German architect who was responsible for shelter construction. And they hired me as a consultant because of following reason. This is a typical UN shelter. Refugee has to cut the trees by themselves to make a frame, to put plastic sheet given by United Nations. This area used to be the forest, but they cut all the trees. It became very serious deforestation, environmental problem. So that United Nations started providing them aluminum pipes. But aluminum is very expensive material locally, so refugees sold them out for money and cut the trees again. So they go much further to cut more trees. So this became very heavy deforestation. That was the timing when I proposed my idea to use a recycled paper tube for shelter construction. That is why I started working for United Nations. Next, please. This is the 3 prototype I built at the factory of the Vitra. Vitra is a very famous furniture company in Switzerland. This white building is a furniture museum and the factory designed by Frank Gehry. Behind that, there is the seminar house designed by Tadao Ando. Further right, they have a factory designed by Nicolas Grimshaw and Alvaro Siza. Further right, they have the first building built by Zaha Hadid. Their own fire station still exists. So this company has the most expensive collection of architecture. And my prototype became their cheapest collection. This is the Bimba camp. I went to there to put up the paper tube shelter. Also, I wanted to make something more comfortable. However, because of the United Nations policy, we are not supposed to give them something too comfortable, because if the shelter is too comfortable, they're going to stay there longer. The United Nations want them to go back to their original village and city as soon as possible, so that I got only $50 per unit. So that's why this development is only to stop deforestation. Next, please. Year after, 1995, in the city of Kobe, Japan, we have big earthquake, over 22,500 people killed, and also big fire. And I read on newspaper, there's the Vietnamese refugees gathering at the Catholic Church. I thought the refugees must have a more difficult time than Japanese victims, so that I went to see them, and the city was totally burned. It was quite difficult to find the church, and then there I found the church. All the building was destroyed by earthquake and also fire, and only statue remained, and people are having morning service around fire. And I proposed to the priest, why don't we build the temporary church out of paper tube? And he thought I'm crazy proposing building the building out of paper after the fire. So he didn't believe me. But I didn't give up. So I commuted to Kobe every Sunday. Next, please. Then I got to know the Vietnamese people. They are living like this in the park with a plastic sheet. And in the fine days, inside became the totally like the greenhouse. It's so hot, and rainy days totally get wet. Although that the government started building the temporary houses, because the Kobe is very dense, all the temporary houses was built surrounding area. But Vietnamese people has only job working for particular factory in particular area. They didn't want to move to the temporary houses because they cannot continue commuting to the factory. So they wanted to keep staying in this park. But the neighbor Japanese people tried to kick them out because they are afraid this park is becoming like a slum. But they have no place to go. So that I thought that we have to provide them some comfortable, but the shelter looked like totally temporary to be accepted by neighbor people. So I brought my student to start building the temporary shelter with a paper tube and the beer crates. In that time, in Japan, there are two major beer companies called Kirin and Asahi. They are competing because Asahi made their beer crate red, which doesn't go with the color of the paper tube. So I asked the Kirin company to donate. And we are very disappointed because Kirin is such a big company, and we are expecting having beer crate with beer inside, but it was totally empty, so that we are very disappointed. We work with a structural engineer to put actually the sandbag in order to stand for the typhoon and hurricane. And the membrane is the double membrane for the ceiling and the roof. We can open the gable to have a natural ventilation inside of the ceiling. This is the inside. They stayed there in my paper log house for 4 years. Next, please. Next, please. Then the priest trusted me to make the temporary church, and I got the small land. Everything was made by student with paper tube. This is a rectangular shape, 10 by 15 meter. Inside, paper tube was laid oval shape, which come from one of my favorite church designed by Bernini in Rome. This was the first time they are having morning service under the roof, and the priest. So they can use only for a few years, but it was there for 10 years. This became community center and the symbol of reconstruction of the city, used as the many public services, wedding, concert, movie, meeting, so that this became not only for the religious services, but also community center. After 10 years, they decided to build the bigger one that I was very lucky to design, but also there was a big earthquake in Taiwan. We decided to donate. Next, please. We disassembled them to ship over to Taiwan and rebuild as a permanent church and community center. It's still there. So this became permanent. Then I wonder, what is the definition of temporary structure? What is the definition of the permanent structure? As you can see in a big city like Los Angeles or Tokyo, suddenly big concrete building disappear, especially the commercial building. The building to make money, even in concrete, can be very temporary because other developer buy the building at the site and destroy the existing building to put new one. So that even if the building is made in paper by student can be permanent as long as people love it. So that's my definition of what is temporary and what is permanent. Next, please. 1999 in Turkey, they had a big earthquake. I was asked to make temporary houses. All the material that's locally available, even the paper tube, beer crate was donated from local manufacturer, totally free. And children help us to put waste paper inside the paper tube to make wall more insulated. Next, please. 2001, west side of India, Gujarat, they had a big earthquake, and I was asked to make temporary houses. All the material was locally available except the beer crates, because nobody drank beer in that area. So that my local Indian architect recommended me to use Coca-Cola crate, but I thought that Coca-Cola crate doesn't fit in the context. So we made a foundation, and the floor made a traditional way with mud. And they are used as a house and also school. This is a photo sent by local architect last year. This is still there, used as a local clinic. Next, please. 2008, 2 months before Beijing Olympic, the city of the Chengdu in Sichuan district, they had a big earthquake. Over 8,000 people are killed. Also, many of the schools collapsed. And although I started preparing the temporary house, local government didn't allow any foreigner to make temporary houses. Instead, I met a schoolmaster. She asked me to design temporary classroom. So I brought my Japanese student, work with local Chinese student for 5 weeks together, using locally available paper tube and wooden joint. We made 9 classrooms just by student. It's still there. Next, please. 2009, L'Aquila in Italy, they had a big earthquake. And this, after the earthquake, I went to see the mayor. He asked me to design a temporary concert hall because L'Aquila is very famous for music. They have their own orchestra and also the school of music, but no place to play. All the concert hall was destroyed. So I started designing temporary concert hall. And I got the phone call from the embassy of Japan in Rome, and they wanted to support me, and they told me that this is former Prime Minister of Italy, Mr. Berlusconi, and he decided to bring G8 summit. That time Russia was part of summit, not G7, G8, and because of earthquake, Mr. Berlusconi decided to bring a G8 summit to L'Aquila to get some support from international community. And this is former Japanese Prime Minister. Embassy organized this press conference with 2 Prime Minister, with my model. I'm sure Mr. Berlusconi doesn't know what he's holding. This is a paper tube. Because of this successful press conference, I got €500,000 to build the temporary concert hall. Even the temporary concert hall, the acoustic has to be very good, but I didn't want to use concrete. So this is the steel frame filled with a sandbag, covered by the donated red curtain. Inside is covered by the different diameter of paper tube to make a good acoustic, but it's not structure, but exterior tube is a structural paper tube. And this is opening concert. It's still there. People really enjoy using this concert hall still. Next, please. 2010, Haiti. It's a small island in Caribbean Ocean. Right half is Dominican Republic. Left half is Haiti. This is Port-au-Prince. Because the airport closed, I had to fly over Santo Domingo. And drove over 7 hours, finding out situation like this. So I made a paper tube shelter with a student in Santo Domingo, brought over to train local people to build by themselves. Next, please. 2011, northern Japan, including Fukushima, we had a big earthquake, tsunami, nuclear problems. And after the Kobe earthquake, when I went to the evacuation facilities, I was very shocked. People had to sleep on the floor without any privacy. I believe that privacy is most basic human right, but the government didn't care. So that from 2004, almost every 2-3 years we have big earthquake. I start preparing the partition system with my student, but always government didn't allow making them because there are no example. But I didn't give up. Little by little, I improved it. So 2011, I developed the fourth version. This is normal condition. People sleep on the floor without any privacy. But when I went to I went visit many evacuation facilities, demonstrated, but the government official doesn't allow me to build. But this gymnasium, unfortunately, the city hall was destroyed by tsunami, killed by mayor and the city officials. Instead of normally the evacuation facility organized by city official, but this was organized by high school physics teachers. So he was very kind to accept my proposal, making this partition. In 1 week, we made a 500 family unit like this. Just the small diameter chip was inserted, hanging curtain, to give them the different size of the unit, depending on the type of the family numbers. We built 80 facilities, and the first 30 facilities rejected my proposal. But after this, little by little, this was published on newspaper, get a good the result, and finally we went to the 50 facilities, built 2,000 units all over the north of Japan. This photo was taken year 2020. Almost every year, earthquake or flooding is happening in all over Japan. But this is during the pandemic time. The local doctor told the government official, having this partition is very good to stop spreading COVID viruses. So that's why finally, after the 16 years doing this, Japanese government accepted my partition system as a standard partition for the disaster evacuation facilities. Next, please. After they spend a few months, they have to move to this prefab house made by government. It's very uncomfortable. It's like this. And also that there's no privacy, you cannot open the window, leaking, and you can hear there are no acoustic insulation from next door, so very uncomfortable. Also, many of the land was destroyed by earthquake and tsunami. I thought they may not have enough flat land to make a single-story temporary houses. That's why in 1 month, I made a proposal of 3-story shipping container, the temporary houses, get permission from the local government, and brought over to introduce to the mayors. And one of the city called Onagawa, next please, accepted my proposal because they needed 190 family unit, but they have only one baseball ground empty or available. But that is not big enough to put 190 family unit for the single story. That's why they accepted. So this is a construction. We just put the steel plate, no concrete foundation, and made in checkerboard pattern. Inside the container, we put a bathroom unit and the bedroom. In between space is more public space for living and dining space. Also, we provided furniture made by student. But I also made a new problem. People has to move out in 4 years, but nobody want to move out because it's very comfortable. Next, please. Few weeks before earthquake in Japan, there is a big earthquake in Christchurch, New Zealand. I got the email from one of the priests. He said, "You must be the architect who can design temporary church free of charge." I said that I'm happy to do it if this is not only for religious service but also public use. So although I was very busy commuting north of Japan, I also commuted to New Zealand. And the first thing I did is analyzing the floor plan and the elevation of the original the cathedral, finding out many rule like golden sections. Use this rule for the new design of the temporary church, temporary cathedral. Next, please. Some photo is missing, but anyway, this is a shipping container, and paper chip is sitting on top of it. The inside is like this. Although this was meant to be temporary, this became a tourist destination and is still there. People really loves it. Next, please. 2014, big earthquake and typhoon at Cebu Island in Philippines. In Philippines, they have big beer company called San Miguel. I asked them to donate beer crate, but they are so difficult. So finally, I had to use Coca-Cola crates. Next, please. 2015, Nepal. They have the big earthquake. Most of the building is made in brick. They are not good for the earthquake, but I didn't want to waste this rubber brick. So this is a test I did in Japan, using the brick inside of the wooden frame to meet the Japanese earthquake regulation. So this is the houses we made with this rubber brick with this the method. And also we made a school on top of the mountain. There was no brick, so we put a stone instead. This became permanent elementary school. Next, please. 2023, I was very busy because earthquake was everywhere in the world. This is one I built in Turkey near Syrian border with local student with paper chip locally available. This is one we built in Morocco near Marrakesh. Also same one with paper chip locally available. This is one in Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii, because of a big fire. And this is one in Noto Peninsula in Japan. Actually, they have another bigger earthquake 2 years ago, January 1st, but this was built half a year before. There's another earthquake. This house, wooden house, was not destroyed by first earthquake, but the second bigger earthquake destroyed this. My house, paper house, was not destroyed by earthquake. Even the wooden house is laying down on my paper house, but still okay. Next, please. Also, I made a permanent temporary apartment for the victim. Normally, the government make a single-story prefab house, and they have to move out in 3-4 years and destroy them to waste them. But I thought that is really the waste of money and also is creating lots of the rubbish. So that I made the temporary house the same budget with the prefab house in timber, but it can be used as a permanent house. This is a technology called DLT. DLT stands for Dow laminated timber. Instead of CLT is cross laminated timber. They have to be made in some big factory, ship over. But this one is the Dow laminated timber. Dow is wooden Dow. We just put the standard 2x4 and make a hole and hammer down the dowel, wooden dowel, like this one, without any glue. We can use local timber on the side without any machine to make a finger joint very easily to make this box, stacking on top of each other, checkerboard pattern. So only it takes 3 months to make we made 130 unit, and each one can be built in 3 months. And inside is like this. So we can expose the solid timber wall inside of the house, and even we provided the furnitures. Next, please. Also, Noto Peninsula, they have very good, nice the traditional houses with beautiful roof tiles and beautiful the timber structures, but they have to be destroyed by machine to be wasted. But I thought that is so poor, pity not to waste such a beautiful materials. So I made the group of students to collect them, to reuse the roof tile and also the timber. I rented the warehouse, collecting before the government the cleanup. I collected them in storage. We already got 30,000 the roof tiles to be used. This is a community center we built next to my temporary house using this roof tile. This is one similar one I'm building in Lahaina. Not Lahaina, Argentina after the fire. So this is what we are doing right now. Next, please. Last project in series of project in Ukraine. Almost 4 years ago, February 23, Russia invaded Ukraine and created a lot of refugees. This is refugees evacuation facility. It's just like a Japanese evacuation facility after the earthquake. There's no privacy. So I went to there with local students. This is my NGO, Voluntary Architects Network. It's like my name. We created the same type of the partition system. All the paper tube donated from the manufacturer in Poland. In Poland and Ukraine, Slovakia, Berlin, and Paris, we built like this. Next, please. Also, as you know, that Russia attacked the power station. I found a very inexpensive, lightweight stove. You can cook on top of this. I bought 200 of them to provide them. So as you can see, he's so happy to receive my stove, but he's injured and his house burned by the missile from Russia. Next, please. Also, I'm preparing affordable housing system with the university in Poland. This is a system made by styrofoam. Styrofoam is a very lightweight insulation material, also used for the packing of the boxes. We put the glass fiber and paint the plastic. It's called glass fiber reinforced plastic. This is nothing special. It's traditional technology to make a middle size of boat. Even surfboard is made by the same technology. Everything can be done by student without any machine. So it's the modular system. It's lightweight, as you can see, and very heavy, very thick, very well insulated. And the house was built, assembled by students in 1 day in the city of Lviv in Ukraine. So we are now preparing the affordable housing system. Next, please. This is the last slide. And this is the mayor of the city of Lviv. Lviv is west side of the Ukraine. It's rather safe compared to east side. That's why so many injured people from war coming to the hospital of Lviv. That's why it's overcapacity. So mayor asked me to design the hospital of the 250,000 square feet in timber. They have the biggest laminated timber factory in East Europe, used to export to Canada and US, but now they cannot export. So he wants to use the local timber. However, Ukraine's building regulation is like Japan. They cannot make such the size of the building in timber because they don't have oversizing rule. However, as you know that after the war, they want to be part of the EU. So the mayor decided, he asked me to design the hospital with local timber, applying EU building regulation. As I showed you one in Switzerland, we can make such a building in timber. So this is going to be first hospital built in timber with EU building regulation. Now we are still designing. The construction is supposed to be started beginning this summer. So that I hope that this became the symbol of the reconstruction of Ukraine. Thank you very much.